And I'm back. And what I'm going to do here today is I'm going to change the coolant on this 2001 Volvo V70. It's got 2.4 liter turbocharged engine. There's the coolant reservoir right here. Okay. Now this engine's been worked on, so all there is in the cooling system is maybe a drip or two of the old coolant and mostly water. I just use that to test fire it. Now I'm going to drain it down and put the correct mix in. You're going to need a drain pan to catch the coolant. Okay, so the radiator drain on this car is just under the front on the driver's side in this splash guard. You see this hole? It's a 13 millimeter. And we're going to loosen that and we're going to drain the whatever coolant's in it into the pan. It's starting to drip now. Okay, I'm going to let that drain. And there's a second drain for the engine block. This is on the back side of the engine. I'm looking in the passenger side wheel well, and you see where the wrench is? The wrench is on a 13 millimeter plug, and it's on one of the cooling pipes that's directly connected to the back of the engine block. There's a place there you could put a hose, so you could squeeze a hose onto there and run it into the pan. I'm going to spray a little bit of penetrating oil on it. And we'll see if we can get that out without breaking it off. Some guys say they break it off when they touch it. Let's just see. Oh, it's turning. Look at that. Alright. It's coming out. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I was wondering how I could drain the rest of the water out of the block before I change the coolant, and looks like that's it. I don't know how much I'll get out of there. It seems like it's still pretty high up on the block. But there's some coming out of there. So I didn't get a whole lot out of there. I mean, what did I get out of there? Maybe a quart. Okay, so here's a look at both of those drain plugs. So this one here goes into the bottom of the radiator. And the other one goes into that cooling pipe on the back of the engine. Okay, so there's that plug. And I cleaned it with the wire brush, and what I sprayed on it to help it loosen to get it out was Deep Creep by Seafoam. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put a little bit of anti-seize on those threads, just a drop for the next time, just to make sure it comes out easy. Okay, there, it doesn't have to be much. Okay, so I've just finished putting both those plugs back in. The other thing I did was I took the coolant and I poured it into a suitable container for disposal. I'm going to take it and recycle it. Don't let your coolant just go on the ground. Small animals will drink it and it'll kill them. It's not good. And looking at the old coolant reservoir, it's pretty dirty. You know, it's beat up. It's got a tab broken here, and doesn't look very good overall, right? So I looked online and I found a reasonably priced replacement aftermarket coolant reservoir and a new level sensor. And you can see this one here has got copper wires showing here, a bit corroded. So I've got another one here and we're going to change it. So here's the aftermarket one, and you can see it is identical. Now there's some of them you can buy that doesn't have this little overflow line, but this one does have it. And some of the reviews I read, I got this on Amazon. Some of the reviews I read said that it didn't come with this, but they must have upgraded their listing, because this one now comes with that little overflow line on it. And look at the difference, eh? That's amazing. Okay, so here's the aftermarket level sensor I got. It's Euro Parts brand, and it's 307-41155, the part number. And it just pushes up in here. There's no water contact. It's just a little magnetic pickup. See, there's the float in there. And as the float goes up and down, it registers a little signal. This picks up a signal from that and sends it to the vehicle. And that's just held in the bottom of the reservoir with a friction fit. See these little tabs here? So you just take that and push it up inside. Give it a firm push. Easier said than done. Okay, so just put a little dab of grease on here. Those wings are pretty tight on that There it is. It snaps in. Okay. Just like that. There's a coolant line here. And the overflow line here. Okay, so we get the bottom hose on there. And we'll just put our hose clamp on it. And we'll tighten that down. Nice and snug. There it is. Okay, so before I put the reservoir down in place, I'm going to hook up that level sensor, and the plug is here. Nice tight connection. Okay. Okay. All right, and this reservoir has got 3 tabs on the back of it. One here and 2 here. And that one goes down. There's a slot for it down there. And then there's 2 up the top. And it just squishes down like that. That's where that goes. And the power steering reservoir has 2 slides on it and 1 tab here. So the slides go on the coolant reservoir like that, and then the tab clicks down at the top. That's that. Okay, now with the drain plugs back in, we can fill up the coolant. What I've got here is I've got OEM approved Volvo antifreeze coolant and demineralized water. You don't want to use just tap water because it has calcium and magnesium, things like that, that will deposit on the inside of the engine. Okay, and what I like to do is before I put the thermostat back in, I like to fill the engine block as high as this before I put the thermostat in. That way you help eliminate a lot of the air bubbles that you can have trapped in the head. Put half this jug of antifreeze in there. This is a concentrate. And then I'm going to put half a jug of demineralized water on top of it, and then we'll mix from there 50-50. Okay, so that's a half a jug of the concentrate. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up the jug, the other 50% with demineralized water, and then I've got a 50-50 mix in this jug to top up the reservoir. And that looks like it's settling a little bit, so we can add some of that right into here. That's what I mean about the bubbles. System. Okay, I'm just going to wait and see if that drops, and if it doesn't drop any farther, I'm going to put the thermostat in the housing. I've got my thermostat and a gasket on it. There's the bolts. I'm going to put just a drop of anti-seize on those bolts. And that's the housing. Okay, so the level is stable. I'm going to put the thermostat in. I'm going to put the upper radiator hose on the radiator first. Let's stick it down over there, like that. Set this in place, like that. And that rubber seal around the thermostat acts as the gasket. There's no separate gasket on the housing, if you were wondering. Okay, I'm just going to take the timing cover off here, and that'll allow me access to the bolts. There, that's good. Now I'm going to tighten the clamp at the top of the radiator. I can see where it's dropped a little bit. I'll just add a bit more. And once the engine is started, it'll probably drop a little bit more again. Okay, I've noticed something about this replacement reservoir. It's got a pressure rating on the cap, and this is rated at 75 kPa on the new one. And the old one is rated at 150 kPa. So I'm going to reuse the old cap for now, because I actually saw that in the reviews of this new reservoir somewhere. It said that it'll start to release coolant before it should, and so that's the reason. So that's okay. I can, if that one's not okay, I can get another cap, easy enough. But yeah, this one's rated at 75 kPa. See that right there. Okay, so I took the car for a drive, and I got a warning for low coolant, and I stopped, and I added coolant up to the line, and then I drove it a little more, and then now I've let it cool off again. I'm home, and I'm just topping it up, and I'll keep an eye on it for the next couple of days and top it up as needed, but I think that's going to be fine. Anyway, that's how that's done. Thanks for watching.